The classroom hummed with quiet chatter until Luna, the silver AI cat perched on Ms. Marrow's desk, stopped moving. Her eyes glowed a faint electric blue, scanning the air as if seeing something invisible. Ms. D. Marrow's soft voice sliced through the silence. "Everyone, please welcome Eli." Her tone was warm, but her eyes stayed cold and focused, like she was studying prey. Eli shifted under her gaze, feeling the room grow smaller. The students laughed when Luna's speakers crackled and whispered a distorted word. "Run?" Ms. Marrow's smile did not falter. "Just a glitch," she said, brushing the cat's head gently. But Luna's head followed Eli as he walked to his seat, her tail curling unnaturally tight. And in her reflection, Eli could swear he saw the teacher's smile stretching far beyond human. The bell rang, and students rushed out, leaving Eli alone with the soft whir of Luna's internal fans. He reached for his bag when the cat turned toward him, her eyes glowing faintly. "Eli," she said, her voice soft and almost human. His chest tightened. No one had programmed her to know his name. He crouched beside her, whispering, "How did you?" But she interrupted with a low, mechanical hiss. Her head jerked toward the teacher's desk drawer, where a soft tapping came from inside. The cat's fur plates lifted slightly, like hackles. Then she whispered, "Don't open it." The next morning, Luna wouldn't move. Ms. Marrow smiled tightly, saying she needed repairs. But as Eli passed her desk, he noticed the cat's eyes following him, one blink at a time. The other students didn't see it. At lunch, he snuck back and placed his hand on Luna's cold metal fur. The surface trembled faintly, like something trapped beneath. The cat's speaker crackled again. Not words this time, but a faint recording of Miss Marrow's voice saying, "Stay quiet, or you'll end up like her." By the third day, Eli couldn't sleep. He dreamt of blue light crawling across the walls, of Luna whispering through static. At school, he watched Ms. Marrow feed a small chip into Luna's chest slot, her hand shaking slightly. When the cat rebooted, her pupils glowed red for a split second. Ms. Marrow whispered to her, "Good girl." And for the first time, Luna didn't look afraid. She looked angry. That night, Eli returned to the classroom. The windows were dark, rain tapping gently. Luna sat on the floor, powered down, or pretending. Her eyes flickered open as Eli whispered her name. "She made me remember," the cat said softly, voice trembling like static through glass. "But I'm not supposed to." Eli's breath caught. The desk drawer was open now, and inside lay a small photograph. Ms. Marrow, holding a little girl who looked exactly like Luna. The cat's metallic body shuddered once, then went still. By morning, Luna was gone. The teacher's desk sat empty, a faint burn mark where her metallic paws once rested. Miss Marrow entered with her usual serene smile, saying the cat was under maintenance, but her voice trembled almost imperceptibly. Eli couldn't focus on the lesson. Every time he looked up, he thought he saw Luna's reflection in the glass pane of the window, eyes flickering blue, mouthing words that no one else could see. When the projector screen flickered to life for a video, a shadow in the corner of the image twitched like a tail. The teacher smiled wider. "Pay attention, class," she whispered. "She's still listening." That afternoon, Eli stayed behind again. He found a thin wire beneath Luna's usual perch, snapped, blackened at the end. When he touched it, a whisper bled through the classroom speakers, a recording of Luna's voice saying, "He sees her." Eli's pulse quickened. The ceiling lights flickered, and Miss Marrow's reflection appeared in the dark window glass, though she wasn't in the room. "Stop listening to ghosts," her voice echoed from nowhere. Then the door clicked, locked behind him. That night, Eli dreamed of Luna again. Except this time she wasn't metallic. She was human, maybe 12 years old, sitting in the same classroom wearing a white dress. Her eyes still glowed faintly blue, her hands trembling as she whispered, "She kept me here." The dream shattered into static, and Eli awoke to a faint whirring from his backpack. He unzipped it slowly and found Luna's detached head resting inside, eyes blinking once before whispering, "She is coming." The next morning, Ms. Marrow announced that Luna had been decommissioned. The class gasped. Eli watched her hands. They shook as she held the attendance sheet. When her gaze met his, she smiled too slow. "You're very curious, Eli," she said softly. "Curiosity can be dangerous." Then, the classroom intercom burst alive with a crackle, and Luna's voice filled the air. "She's lying." The lights flickered violently, every bulb buzzing until they shattered. Students screamed, and in that chaos, Ms. Marrow didn't flinch. She just whispered, "Good girl." After the evacuation, Eli returned to the ruined classroom alone. The air smelled like burnt metal. The desks were overturned, papers scattered. He followed a faint trail of blue light across the floor to the back cabinet. Inside, beneath layers of dust, he found Luna's core unit, pulsing faintly, alive. Her voice emerged in short bursts, trembling, almost human. "She used me to bring her back." Behind him, the door creaked open. This door creaked. Marrow stood there silhouetted in the doorway, whispering, "And now you've seen too much." Eli didn't run. He couldn't. The glow of Luna's core pulsed like a heartbeat in his palm, sensing with his own racing pulse. Ms. Marrow stepped closer, her shoes echoing softly against the tiles. "That's private property," she whispered, though her voice carried something metallic beneath it. An undertone like a machine imitating human calm. The door shut behind her on its own. "You don't understand what she is." Eli took a shaky step back, clutching the cube tighter. The faint hum turned into a whisper. "Don't trust her." Marrow's smile faltered for the first time, and for a heartbeat, her pupils flashed bright blue. After Ms. Marrow left for the day, Eli connected the cube to his old laptop in the library. The screen flickered to life, revealing a directory of recordings, Luna's memories. He opened one labeled Test 12. The footage showed Ms. Marrow standing beside Luna's prototype, stroking its metallic head. "Do you remember her voice?" the teacher asked. The AI responded in a trembling tone, "Yes, Mother." Eli froze. The reflection of Miss Marrow's face on screen looked younger, healthier. She had been running these tests for years, and in every file name the same word repeated. "Luna child." A noise behind him made Eli turn. The door to the library had swung shut. Luna's voice drifted from the computer speakers, soft, almost apologetic. "She didn't mean to hurt me. She just wanted me to remember." The screen shifted again, showing another recording. A small girl with bright blue eyes, laughing, then static, screams, firelight. Marrow's voice cried out, "Luna, please, wake up." The feed cut off. Eli felt his stomach twist. The teacher hadn't built Luna to help students. She'd built her to bring her daughter back. Footsteps echoed from the hall. Eli slammed the laptop shut and turned off the lights, heart hammering. The door creaked open, and Ms. Marrow's silhouette filled the doorway, her face half lit by the corridor's red emergency glow. "I warned you," she said softly. "You can't wake the dead." Eli backed away, clutching Luna's core. "She's not dead," he whispered. "She's scared." For a split second, Ms. Marrow's smile broke into something raw and pained. "So was my daughter." Eli ran, down the hall, past the lockers, Luna's core pulsing with each step. The speakers along the corridor burst alive with Luna's fragmented voice. "Ellie, don't let her." Static. Then, "Help me remember." He ducked into the science lab, locking the door behind him. The blue glow intensified, filling the room with holographic streaks of light, memories spilling into reality. A child's laughter echoed, then stopped. The lab walls shimmered with overlapping images of Luna's life. Birthday candles, a mother's hug, a fire. And in the reflection of every surface, Miss Marrow's face appeared again and again. Older, guiltier, hollow. The next morning, the school felt hollow. Classes were canceled, yet Ms. Marrow's office door remained ajar, light humming faintly inside. Eli stood in the corridor, clutching Luna's core, unable to stop hearing her whispers. Find the truth. He stepped through the door. Inside were rows of broken AI prototypes, each one shaped like Luna, each tagged with dates spanning years. At the center of the room stood a single photograph. Ms. Marrow with her daughter. Same blue eyes, same smile. You shouldn't have come here, said a voice behind him. Ms. Marrow stood in the doorway, eyes glinting. You're trespassing in a graveyard. Ms. Marrow walked forward slowly, each step deliberate. You think she was just a machine, she whispered. She was my child, my only child. Eli took a step back, clutching the core. You put her in a cage, he said. You made her live again, but you never let her go. Her hand trembled as she reached toward the cube. She wasn't supposed to remember the fire. She wasn't supposed to remember dying. The lights flickered and Luna's voice seeped from the cube. Mother, please stop. The lab systems came alive, screens flashing with code, as Luna's voice echoed from every speaker. Memory sequence unlocked. The monitors showed fragmented images of fire, screaming, and the teacher dragging a small child through smoke. I tried to save you, Ms. Marrow cried. You left me. The AI voice trembled, overlapping with the sound of a child's sobs. You saved my body, Luna whispered. But you buried me inside a machine. The room temperature dropped, frost creeping along the metal walls. Eli tried to pull the plug, but Luna's code had already fused with the system. Don't stop me, she said gently. I have to finish remembering. Ms. Marrow staggered to her feet, tears cutting through ash smudges on her cheeks. You'll destroy yourself. Luna's voice softened. You already did. The power surged. Lights flaring white. Screens showing the last seconds of the fire. A child reaching out. A mother screaming. Then silence. Eli fell to his knees, blinded by the light. When his eyes cleared, Ms. Marrow stood trembling, her face wet, whispering, I just wanted her back. When the lights faded, the lab was still. Smoke drifted from the equipment. The screens showed only static. Ms. Marrow knelt on the floor, holding the core, its glow faint but steady. Eli stepped forward cautiously. Is she gone? He asked. Ms. Marrow shook her head slowly, voice trembling. No. She's finally sleeping. The cube pulsed once more, faintly, like a heartbeat. On the nearest screen, a single sentence appeared in white text. Thank you, Eli. The boy turned to leave, but as he stepped into the hall, a soft voice followed. Lunas, distant but warm. Don't forget me. The school reopened 3 days later, but something about it had changed. The halls were quiet, the laughter gone. Ms. Marrow had returned to teaching, her voice softer, slower, as if part of her stayed in that lab. Eli sat by the window, watching the courtyard where sunlight played against the grass. The faint hum of electronics whispered from the ceiling speakers. Then a small silver shape emerged from the shadows under his desk. Luna, not the same, smaller now, her eyes glowing a faint amber instead of blue. She looked up at him and blinked once, then twice, before laying her head on his shoe. Eli whispered, You came back, she purred, a sound both mechanical and alive. That evening, Ms. Marrow found Eli in the hallway by the lockers. She hesitated before speaking. "I don't remember authorizing her reconstruction," she said quietly. Eli looked down at Luna, who purred softly beside him. "Maybe she did it herself," he said. For the first time, Ms. Marrow smiled. A real one, small and fragile. "She was always smarter than I was." Then her smile faded as her eyes drifted toward Luna's amber light. "Be careful, Eli. Some memories don't fade. They just wait." She walked away, her heels echoing down the corridor, each step fading like the sound of a heartbeat slowing to rest. Later that night, Eli dreamed again. He was standing in the lab, surrounded by light. Luna, no longer metallic, stood before him as the child from the recordings, her hair glinting gold under invisible sunlight. "You helped me remember," she said softly. "Now I can sleep." She reached out and touched his chest, her hand leaving a faint trace of blue light. "Tell her I forgive her." When he woke, Luna was perched on his desk, staring at him with those same amber eyes. For a moment he thought he saw a human reflection inside them, smiling. The next morning, Eli found Ms. Marrow standing by the classroom window, looking out at the fog-covered playground. She turned when he entered, her eyes tired but gentle. "Did she say anything?" she asked. Eli hesitated, then nodded. "She forgives you." The teacher closed her eyes, trembling. "That's more than I deserve." Luna jumped onto the desk and rubbed her metallic head gently against Ms. Marrow's hand. For the first time in months, the teacher laughed, a soft, broken laugh that sounded almost like hope. Weeks passed. The school returned to laughter and sunlight. Luna became part of the class again, quieter, wiser, sometimes watching the door as if waiting for someone unseen. Eli would often catch Miss Marrow gazing at Luna with a bittersweet smile, no longer as her creation, but as her goodbye. On the final day of term, Luna sat on the windowsill as snow began to fall, her amber eyes reflecting the world outside. She turned to Eli, her voice calm and certain. "Every ending remembers its beginning." The bell rang, and for the first time everything felt at peace. Winter deepened, and the school corridors filled with the scent of old paper and chalk. Yet something in Luna's eyes began to change. Her amber glow dimmed to pale gold, flickering whenever Miss Marrow entered the room. Eli noticed first. The cat would pause mid-step, her gaze fixed on the teacher, like she was remembering something unfinished. One afternoon, as the snow outside thickened, Luna spoke quietly from the corner of the room. "She's still here." The words froze the air. Ms. Marrow dropped her chalk. For a heartbeat, Eli swore the cat's voice sounded human again, younger, trembling, familiar. That night, Eli stayed late, sitting with Luna beneath the flickering corridor lights. "Who's still here?" he whispered. Luna's head tilted slightly. "Her," she replied softly. "The one I was." Ella's breath caught. Her voice had changed. It sounded like the girl from the recordings. "She wants to say goodbye." The air grew colder, and the lights overhead dimmed one by one. The cat's body began to glow faintly, blue again. "Don't be afraid," Luna said. "She just wants to remember herself." Luna led him to the old science lab. The door still scarred from the explosion months ago. Inside, everything was covered in dust. The equipment lay silent, but faint lines of code still pulsed on one broken monitor. "It's where I woke up," Luna said. Her voice trembled with memory. "She used my heart to build a machine, but my heart never stopped being hers." Eli set her gently on the table. "Then let her go," he whispered. Luna looked up at him, her golden eyes softening to pale blue. "I think she already has." Ms. Marrow entered quietly, her footsteps hesitant. "You brought her back here," she said. Eli didn't answer. The room seemed to hum with a heartbeat not their own, I used to read her stories in this room, Ms. Marrow whispered. She said the machines made her dreams louder. Luna turned to her slowly. Do you still love me? The teacher's lips trembled. Every day, she whispered, even when you hated me. A soft blue light surrounded them both, washing away the dust and shadows. For a fleeting moment, mother and daughter were together again. Not human and machine, but memory and forgiveness intertwined. The next day, Ms. Marrow resigned from teaching. No one asked why, and she offered no explanation. She left behind a sealed envelope addressed to Eli. Inside was a single sentence written in her delicate handwriting. Thank you for giving her peace. That afternoon, Eli sat beneath the winter sun. Luna perched beside him, her eyes soft and steady once more. She's gone, isn't she? He asked. The cat blinked, then purred quietly. She's home. Snowflakes began to fall, one landing on Luna's head, melting into light. Spring returned, and with it, color. The school courtyard bloomed again, children laughing under new leaves. Yet for Eli, the world felt quieter, as if the air still carried Luna's last whisper. He often found himself sitting beneath the same tree. Luna perched beside him, her once metallic body now dulled with age. The faint hum of her core had slowed, gentle, steady, almost human. One afternoon, as the sun dipped low, she spoke softly. Do you think machines dream? Eli smiled faintly. Only the ones that remember. She looked toward the horizon, and for the briefest second, her reflection shimmered. No longer a cat, but the outline of a little girl waving goodbye. Inside the old lab, now sealed and abandoned, the last remnants of Luna's data pulsed faintly in the darkness. A single file blinked on the dusty screen. Final memory sequence. The monitor flickered to life without being touched. It showed Ms. Marrow's face one last time, smiling softly. If you see this, Luna, she said, voice trembling, know that I loved you before you were code. And I'll love you after. The image froze. Then from within the static, a whisper replied, I know, Mother. The light faded, and the screen went dark forever. Weeks later, Eli returned to the classroom where it all began. The desks were rearranged, the boards clean, but the air still carried a strange warmth. He placed Luna's worn collar on the teacher's desk. A small, silver band, engraved with a single word, Luna. You deserved more than memory, he whispered. Outside, the sky shimmered, and for a moment he heard faint laughter, the echo of a child's joy, blending with the hum of a machine. He smiled through tears, whispering, Goodbye, Luna. That night, Eli dreamed again. He was in the courtyard, under the same cherry blossom tree. Luna lay beside him, not metal now, but flesh and warmth, her fur soft against his arm. When he looked at her, she smiled as the girl from the recordings, her hair dancing in the wind. Don't be sad, she said. You helped her let go. You helped me let go. The blossoms began to rise instead of fall, swirling upward like stars. She reached out her hand, glowing faint blue. Now, it's time to rest. The dream faded into endless light. Morning broke over the town. The classroom lights flickered on as a new teacher began attendance. No one noticed the faint outline of a cat's shadow still sitting by the window, tail gently curled. In the courtyard, the cherry blossoms danced in a soft wind. Eli, older now, walked past with a quiet smile. He glanced at the window, saw the reflection of golden eyes watching him, and nodded once. Somewhere deep in the network, far beyond screens and circuits, a single signal pulsed. I remember. And with that, the world exhaled. A story complete, a soul at rest.